It's a morning here in Sweden. It's 7 o'clock, and and these things about the doctor and mental disease. If he tell me that I need medicine for mental disease like that. If he do, I don't know. Uh, these things doesn't disturb me. I'm thankful that it doesn't disturb my sleeping, that I go and think about it all the time. But it make me to remember one part of my life, and it was 1974, so it is 50 years. It's not 50 years. You can count. It remind me about that I was to a mental health clinic for maybe 3-4 times. I was there, and in 1974 it was an open clinic, and I was there because I have got problems with my nerves because I had been drinking so much. So I needed to be healed from it. And for me, the mental issues for me, and it have been sometimes in my life, is that I'm scared to go out and meet people. That's maybe it's the target for this time to fight against me with that I don't want to go out, meet people, and sit in my dark corner in my home. But I am not in that way today. I'm much stronger. I don't like to meet people, but I meet people and I talk like a normal person. But I feel like I have nothing common with them. It's a world of its own. These people, where they live in another world than me. I feel like that today, but I have no fear for people, and I can talk to people, but I don't feel any common with them. And but in that time, when I have been drinking so much, so I think about me like an alcoholic. And in that time, 1974, and I was going in some days to this in the hospital, and it make me to remember one of those that was there. It was a woman that was out from childbirth in her age, and she had lost her child in a car accident, and it was her only child, and she was broken, total broken, about it. She could never have a child on her own again. And it was very sad. And then I was together with one day one girl in like my age, and we were going home to her, and she be scared when we come to her house, and she say I was not allowed to come into her home. And okay, I'm waiting outside here. I say to her, and she never come back. So she be very scared. So I have to walk home by myself or where I should go. So for me, it's not the mental sick people, not scary people. I can talk to everyone, and my brother-in-law, I don't know if it's called like that, my daughter's father's brother, he had passed away, and he was like a very strange person that people didn't want to talk to. And he was out in a trash can and collecting things, took it home to his home and sold it, and going like that, and a very strange person. But I talked to him, and we talk very much. I find the subjects. That's what I do with the mental sick people, that I can find subjects that they are very good in. Most of the people have some area in their brain where they have a big interest, and then I try to find that interest and talk to them about this. And my brother-in-law, he collected clocks, all kind of watch clocks, old things, very rare, and he collect money also, and old money. So in that subject, and he also have the biggest library in that city. And I could talk to him because I was reading books when I was younger, but then when God come and talked to me, I lost my ability to could read a book. But I had read books, lots of books, so I could talk to him about it. So we have three subjects that I could talk to him about, and that's what I did. And so all people, this one mental sick person, he say he go out when they have been raining. He was going out and watch his clothes in the water outside, on the ground. This kind of, for me, very strange things. But I talk to them. I have had this love for people, and I was innocent in that time when I was young. that they could hurt me. I didn't know people could hurt me. So I talked to everyone. And I was to this hospital, ordinary hospital. And we sit and we were talking about our day or our week. And I don't know exactly in details what it was. But in that time it was like the premature sound that you have, the little baby you should bring out. And we were sitting, maybe 10 people, and talking. And most of the time it was screaming of anger about what we have done. And those people in the group were screaming in whatever we did about that. Everything was negative. But I sit there for a while, and that style is not things I like to have in my life. I have always tried to avoid screaming, and that is the problem, have been the problem, that I don't like higher voices screaming at each other, fighting with words, because that's what I grew up with. And my parents was fighting very much, because my father was a drinker. He was alcoholic the whole years until his heart start to grow, be bigger and bigger, and then it's bruised when he was out dancing. And I had come to know that I am very much my father, and I started to drink like he, and that started to cause me to have angst to go out and meet people. And so I was there. But it happened that I become very sick. I think it was influenza I got. I'd be very sick. And in that time I didn't have a telephone. So I had to go out to a place where they had telephone. And I called the hospital and told them, I'm very sick. I have much fever, so I can't come today. I say to them. And that person in the telephone was screaming at me and said that I don't think that you are sick. You want to drink today. So you are better to come here to the hospital. And the hospital was to take the bus for a long time to go there. And I couldn't. I had to go home and lay me down in the bed. I was not drinking. I only drink heavy when I was out with people, because I was frightened to be with people, or even if I didn't drink, was I worried. But I did decide me when I was 19 years old that I should not sit at home every day. I decided me to go out. And then I didn't had been with any man in my life. And one day I decided me to have sex with a man. And it was a very kindly man. It was not a bad person. And he helped me. I'm thankful for that he helped me out from my shell, that I could be like normal young people. But that comes with that I started drinking. And I had this gene, DNA, that have with this addiction DNA. And the addiction DNA is not only drinking. I have talking about that before, that I have many things to do, that you are not normal in your holding in money, for example, or gaming, or other things that you, those that collecting all kind of things like that. That's addiction also. It's not only drinking and drugs and those things. I have that. I play games, and I play up all my money in games. That was this rolling things with a handle you press down, and then it's coming different. I don't know what is in English now, but it's jackpot machine, like they have in Las Vegas, and I have problems with that, and so I have been there, and then I got nerve pills of the doctor to take to could go out and do things, and my mental issues was very sad, because I was young and I wanted to go to movie theaters, and I couldn't sit at a movie theater. I get so much angst, and I didn't want to take the pills I have got from the doctor. I have one nerve pill, nerve medicine on me, and when I be very bad in angst, I took it, but I tried to not take it. So I preferred to. It was many movies I was to, and I pay for the ticket, but I could only be there a few minutes into the movie, and then I be so much angst, so I have to go out from the movie. And I train me to be in movie theaters without taking any pills. So I'm glad that I was against those kind of things already when I was young. I think I have seen much enough from my mother. I know that she sometimes was going crazy, because she eat too much nerve pills, sleeping pills. So I be scared of them, so I didn't want to take them. But I was to the mental issue institution in 1974. That's so. If I say something else earlier, that was a lie, but it was a lie because I didn't remember. But now I did remember, and I'm glad that my brain is working in that way that I remember my whole life. But it took a little time to remember that, maybe because I was in shock over the doctor that he he, he accused me for to be mental sick, and how I have to fight against two people. They were two against two people, and not have anyone that could help me. But God, I try to sit calm, but it will be that they can find this blog, this podcast. So I have coughing problem because I have taken my medicine just now. My medicine I have is for blood sugar. No, it's not blood sugar. Blood pressure, high blood pressure, and then I have for my psoriasis, the pancreas to digest food, and I take it because I take the medicines to digest it, so it doesn't go out from the body before it have taken up of the body. That's what I have. I don't have any extra pills. I need to have this basic. I'm going to take my insulin for the blood sugar also in the morning. But it lose my what I have got in my throat in the night when sleeping. I always get I can't really breathe in the chest. So it's going out now from the nose and the mouth. And this is, it can sounds like it is something wrong with me. And that is belong to the war, the spirit war that's going on. That you that listen should think that I am mentally sick, and that's why I hear voices, and that's what the doctor think about me, and it will happen that he will find my podcast, and then he hear that I hear voices. But not in that way, how, I don't know. I don't know how mental sick people hear voices. My son, he have told me that he hear voices, and that's his only evil voices that talking to him. And because his father was mental sick. He was close to killing me. He was very bad person, but he died for it's it's 20 years ago, almost 15 years ago. He died of drinking heavy, and maybe he took something else. And my son, do exactly the same as his father, because my daughter told me that my son have got diabetes, and he doesn't take anything against diabetes. And that's what his father died of. He had he was drinker, and he lost his job, and he find a woman in his life that was a drinker also. So they both was drinking, and maybe took drugs also. And then he got pain in his chest and go to the hospital, and in the emergency room he fall down on the floor and died. Instantly died. They couldn't help him even if he was in the hospital. His heart stopped. And that what will happen with my son if he don't go to the doctor and take the medicine. So I only wait for that to happen. And so it is, I have told you that my man in my life have been these bad people, mental sick people. And my daughter's father is also mental sick. But he is not he don't do bad things on the outside. He is talking and make, when we were together, he make me do bad things because I was under him, and he have the control over me. He was thinking, but I tried to go out from it, and I stopped. I told him that I don't do what you want me to do, because it's your desire. It was the sexual desire to make me be mistress, doing this, have rope around the arms and legs of men and whip them over the body. And it was against my nature. But I did that anyway because I was under my daughter's father in that way that I couldn't tell him no. But it come to so I was lost myself in this, to do what he wanted me to do. I should be a mistress, be the hard one, and then he'd take picture of it, and then he was selling it, got money from what I did. So one day I told him, I don't do it anymore. If you want to take picture of these things, you need to do it by yourself, I say. And then he drive away and meet younger men and did this, and I put up the camera to take picture, and I saw them, and And then suddenly he said to me, I don't want you in my life because I didn't do what he wanted me to do. He said to me that it's time for us to break up, he said to me. And I was so very happy to come out from it. I had been together with him in 16 years and have this manipulation of my brain. And I was free to go. And then I met a man. I wanted to have a man in my life, and of course it was bad people. And but after 16 years in my daughter's father's way to have sex, I didn't know who I was and what kind of sex I liked to have. And it was this with sexuality was also a journey, a way to find myself in that, because I lost it. I lost it with my daughter's father. 16 years doing his will, and now he have another woman in his life, but she is not strong as me. So he do exactly the same thing. And my daughter tell me what's going on with her father. And I remember all of those steps he did with me to bring me, to take me to when I didn't know myself. I was in his control. And that's have been in my life the whole time. Because my mother, she did everything for my father. Even if he was alcoholic. But sometimes it's break because she'd be so angry at him to not take care of his 3 children and only drinking up all the money, and she had to work to get money because he drinking up all the money. And then he also come home and show us picture of him with other women. And she knew that, my mother, that he had other women. And she didn't divorce him until one day, we 3 children, I was 10 years old. My adopted sister was 15, and my brother was 13. And we sit and crying and say, you have to our mother, you have to divorce our father. We can't take it anymore. And I am very sure today that my adopted sister had my father in her bed. So it was she that I have to tell my mother to divorce my father because he had sex with her. And my mother went to the church and to the priest and asked him if she could divorce her husband. I don't know what she was telling him, but the pastor, he said that this was the best for the children to stay married to that man. And when our mother come home from the church, and she told us, and we were crying and angry at the pastor that he said that to to my mother. And my mother knew I can't be married to him that drinking up every money we have and be with other women and be very bad person also in a home. It was always high voices screaming in our home when I grew up. And that's why I can't take that. I can't take high voices. So in some way, these people, the mental sick people, the men I have had in my life, they have felt it and they have maybe seen it. I don't know how I show them, in what way. But maybe it was that I did everything they wanted me to do, because I was taught from my mother to always say yes to whatever a man is telling me. And it is not today. It stopped in year 2000 when not God come down, the higher priest stood in my home, and then God was talking to me. It stopped to be treated like I was. But when I was homeless in the United States, I had to go back to that. That was a way for me to survive. So I had these evil men in my life when I was homeless in the United States. I have weapon on me in the United States. I have knives on my throat and a gun on my head and being kidnapped. Those things. It was coming back because I didn't know how to survive in the United States without any money, without anyone that could help me. And no one have helped me so far. Some of you have sent me money for me to go and ending in Jerusalem my education under God. And if it's a mental problem to know God and know heaven and know the life after death, that then you can tell me that I am mental sick, but I know I am not mental sick. That is the truth, that God have coming and talk to me sometimes, and those that is in the afterlife have coming and talk to me and help me and through the way, so I have not been killed. I sit here alive, really alive. So thank you for listen to my podcast. It's time for me to see the morning news now. And I am finished with my podcast recording. So have a nice day. It was Saturday, June 17, 2023. Thank you.